In the hands of one God rests the fate of all mankind. Hello everyone, welcome to Gaming Friday here on Off the Shelf Reviews. I'm Gary.
And I'm that god.
And we are playing Too Human, which came out on the Xbox 360 from Silicon Knights in 2008. And Silicon Knights kind of got a pretty bad history in terms of the company that no longer exists as of 2014.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a moment. Ian, have you ever played Too Human?
No.
Why not?
I must have just been playing something else at the time. I think there was a lot of RPG games coming out, and this was one of those games that came out but didn't do very well. You know,
that's true.
So it came out, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of lost in the backlogs of all these different games. And you know, you look at old RPG games at the time that came out on the 360. You had your Fables and your others, you know. But you know, I was off playing other things.
Well, Too Human is a game that I played to death. This is a game that I've been wanting to talk about on the show for a long time.
Okay.
And this is a game that I've been holding out on a sequel for forever. I was even holding out whilst playing this game for them to finally, because this is what really killed the game for me, to finally make the game 4-player cooperative, as was originally advertised and intended. And sort of again at the 11th hour when the game came out, it was only 2-player cooperative.
Oh.
And that fundamentally hurt this game, because as you just saw, you had a choice of 5 classes to choose from.
Yes.
You have the Commando, which is very good with guns. You have the Defender, who is your tank class. You've got the Berserker, who's very offensive. You have the Champion, who is sort of the jack of all trades. And you have the Bioengineer, who is the healer. So if you play this game on your own as a healer, you have no one to heal. So you are playing as a dead class.
Yeah.
And same goes for, you know, the other classes. They have power-ups and perks that benefit a team.
Yes.
So they exponentially become better classes or skills depending on the size of your group. And when you only have 2 players as your limit, the trading system is broken, the gameplay doesn't feel right, and it just killed it because there was no sense of community. You could only play 2 players. You couldn't go and find other people to trade those items that you needed. And one of the big selling points of this game, and this is one of the first loot drop based shooters that I'd ever come across. Yeah. Literally, I hate to admit it, but I'm hugely aware of the Diablo franchise, and Diablo is sort of heralded as one of the best loot drop systems in all of gaming. Yeah. That's been emulated like Borderlands and everything else.
Yep.
But this game had it, and it had an abundance of different items. So obviously having the different 5 classes, each character also has helmet, chest piece, greaves, arm pieces, and weapons. All of them are customizable, and everything that you equip changes the appearance of your character. So that's great. And what you will spend your time doing is looking to complete sets. So you get set bonuses. All of this was new to me on the 360, I must admit, and I really enjoyed trying to get the extra gear so that I could breeze through the levels quicker, so I got a better chance of getting the next piece of loot that I need so that I can replay the same level again. And then you've just heard me say it several times. Replay the same level again. Yeah. And again. And again. Technically, fundamentally, when you boil this game down, there are 4 levels, and that is it.
Really?
That is it. Now, each of those levels can take anywhere up to an hour to finish.
Okay.
And that really is the end game. Because because the story, I'll get to the story in a minute, the story goes from, you know, A to Z, as you would expect.
Yeah.
And you keep going back to the same maps, but the story keeps developing and changing throughout the course of the game. Once you've completed the story, and you still want to carry on leveling up your character and getting all the gear, you just keep replaying those same levels from beginning to end, minus the story element.
Right, okay.
And that is it. And there was no expansion for it. And of course, this game was advertised as the first of a trilogy. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm still waiting for its sequel. And as I've said, Silicon Knights
don't exist
anymore as of 2014.
That's it.
It was I'm trying to remember the person's name that created. I think it was something like David Dyack or something like that.
Okay.
But he was working on this game for more than 10 years. This game went through development hell. It literally started before 1999 as a title for the original PlayStation. Obviously,
Wow.
the development wasn't completed, and then after 2000, this game was meant to be exclusive for the GameCube.
Whoa.
Obviously,
Yeah.
that didn't happen, and then we get to 2005 when Microsoft got the rights to Two Human, and then from 2005 to 2008 the game finally got released. However, the problems didn't continue there because Silicon Knights were working, I think, with Activision on a couple of X-Men games.
Yeah.
They'd also worked, I think, on, or David Dyack did at least, on some of the Legacy of Kain series of games.
Yeah.
So you got a real establishment of game history here. However, the guy at the top kind of mismanaged some funds and also didn't quite give the
Ouch.
rights or pay off those assets that he used. And the big lawsuit which followed Silicon Knights, which did eventually destroy the company, came from Epic Games.
Ooh.
Because Epic Games, as you know, lets game users use their game engine. I think it's the Unreal Engine.
Yes, yeah.
And so this game uses the Unreal Engine, and I'm pretty sure Two Human didn't pay the rights for using it and released the game anyway, so Epic Games sued the crap out of them. That court case went on for years and years before Silicon Knights got sued. And they had to pay off their debts. At this
Wow.
point, Silicon Knights' staff had all been laid off. All of the assets had been laid off, except the lawyer just went, "Oh no, everyone's still hard at work on their next game." And then a few months later, that was it. Silicon Knights is gone, and the guy who owned it ended up moving away and setting up another games company called Precursor Games, and that ended up kickstarting another game to try and actually get a game under their belts, and they didn't reach their quota for their Kickstarter, and now as of today Precursor Games is now also dormant. And
That's
so
a lot of problems they've had there.
they've had a lot of problems with this game, and I have to say it's a shame because I liked this game despite its numerous problems, not outside development, but also within the final product, mainly being the fact that it was limited from 4 to 2 player. But the other problems arise, and Ian, I'm saying this is your first time at the controls of a Two Human game.
Yeah.
How's the camera?
Oh, man, I was hoping you were going to bring that shit up. This camera's fucked up. I've been trying to use the right stick to move the camera around, and all I do is this with my blade. I'm like, I want to look left. Why can't I look left? Oh, you've got to actually turn left to look left, or you know, press the left bumper to lock onto characters,
Yep.
and then everything jumps. Like I'm
So
tapping
it's a twin stick shooter where the right analog stick really is your sword, and so whichever way you're aiming, you will move that way and attack with your sword.
Yeah.
And it's so off-putting. It's
It
like,
is.
for so many third-person action games of this type, the camera is the right analog stick.
Yeah. You don't ever fuck around with it. Maybe make it the other way. Hold left bumper and go into combat.
Yes,
You know,
now-
that would make more sense.
For the first 40 minutes, maybe an hour of playing the game, that camera is literally a sticking point and throws so many people off going any further from that point onwards. But I will say that when you get used to it, it works.
Yeah.
It does. You can sort of balance the camera to the sword work, to the gunplay, to where the enemies are quite nicely. The next big problem really comes in from locking on to the target you want.
Yeah.
I said this in Star Trek Online's sort of first-person, third-person shooting mechanics where you would just end up shooting at friendlies, you'd end up shooting at the wrong targets, and then before you know it, your squad's wiped, you're dead, whatever.
Yeah.
Same thing in this. You'll be trying to shoot rockets that have just been launched at you from a giant mech, and yet you'll be more worried about shooting that one grib leaf over there in the corner which isn't threatening anyone, and as a result, you die.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to the next problem with this game, is that, well, you know, some people would consider it a problem and some people wouldn't. I sometimes enjoy the difficulty spikes in games. Like, for instance, we mentioned it in BioShock, where if you die, there's no problem. You go back to the Divided Chamber, out you go. But when you play on the harder difficulty, that Divided Chamber's not there.
Yeah.
This game doesn't have a difficulty level, and it doesn't punish you for dying to an extent of you don't lose any credits or XP or money, or what you lose is your life, your time, essentially, because you have to watch a 10 to 15 second animation of this beautiful, glorious Valkyrie descending from Valhalla to come and take your soul there. And it's great. It plays into the Norse mythology, which is awesome. However, like I said, you cannot skip this fucking animation. There is even an achievement in this game for dying 100 times.
What the
to
fuck?
see that animation 100 times.
Oh,
but let me
man,
just
that's
tell you,
dedication.
in my time of playing this game, where I mentioned about the difficulty of this game, is that it ruins the element of leveling up and powering up your character. Why? Because every single enemy in the game levels up and scales to your level. So as soon as you become more powerful, so do the enemies. And so, I think we're about to see a glorious Valkyrie. So you can see how long this animation takes from the light to it descending to it finally picking up the body.
Taking out all the enemies.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. All of the enemies remain. You will literally be dropped off almost exactly as you are. Enemies will have the same amount of health and they'll almost be in the exact same position. But you have to watch this animated sequence.
So what? She's gonna fly off with me now,
and then drop you off again. It's like, how did I get here? I was just in Valhalla. Well, maybe this is Valhalla, and you get to fight for eternity.
Why didn't she just come down and just give me some energy and pick me back up again?
That's not how Valkyries work.
Yeah, but that's not how this fucking game works, man. Seriously. I mean, I'm going into the combat sequence and I'm like, right, okay, hold right trigger to shoot your gun. Right, okay, switch to targets. Yeah, okay. But then I want to move the camera to look at somebody else and he pulls out his fucking blade and I'm in close melee combat and I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see now why I did not play this game.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me go into maybe something else about the game. The level design. As I've said, there's 4 levels.
Yeah.
But the levels are quite long. They're quite varied in their design. But I'm just going to say, what is the main color you see right now?
Like grey.
Grey.
Yeah.
The buildings
grey
are
white
grey. Everything in this game is grey or brown and ugly. However, there are some locations in the game that are absolutely beautiful, and the architecture in some of the buildings is sublime. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's just dull colorization.
Yeah.
But architecturally, I really like it. Something about it stood out to me. And
she's back.
And she's back. Here, she's gone to take somebody else. Now, there are some great scripted moments in the game where you see there pre-rendered sequences where you see soldiers fighting. Like, I love this moment where this guy's like my fallen comrade and he gets to watch the Valkyrie take him away, and it's like, that's brilliant. There are moments where you see soldiers fighting and there's a soldier continuing to fire his gun. He's surrounded. You know he's going to die.
Yeah.
But the Valkyrie's already coming out of the sky before he's died. He's already earned his place in Valhalla. He's not even dead yet, and the Valkyrie comes and takes him away before the monsters kill him, and I'm just like, it's just a beautiful moment where the soldiers earned it before even dying.
No, but that doesn't make any sense though, because okay, so she's just floated down and picked up that soldier and taken him off to Valhalla.
Yeah.
Right. She did the same to me, and I just appeared a couple of levels back.
Well, it's because you're a god, essentially.
And
so you get to play Boulder, who
has a gate.
Well, one of them has a gate. There's quite a few boulders, and he's kind of. A lot of this game is obviously a science fiction, futuristic retelling of Norse mythology, where they've kind of taken a few characters and sort of tweaked them a little bit, because Boulder, he was kind of like the lesser of the gods to an extent. He was, in Norse mythology, he's a bit of a mummy's boy.
Right, yeah.
Whereas in this game, they put him in power armor and gone, you're the one. You're the hero of this tale. And it's about Norse gods as cybernetically enhanced humans that are protecting mankind from. Well, let me just give you a guess, Ian. Who in Norse mythology would you put down as the villain?
Loki.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Loki is leading an army of machines this time, with it being the futuristic cybernetic setting. And like I said, when you leave the world setting, you come to this sort of hub area.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I love the music. It just feels right. It feels great.
I didn't know. I'm playing him, man. It does not feel right.
Okay, well, in my memory, it does.
Yeah, it's just nowadays computer games should never have a stuck camera. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, and Resident Evil 3, they all had stuck cameras. And after a while, it got fucking annoying.
No. It didn't get annoying because if you look at the later Resident Evils with the floating camera and everything else, it took away the horror suspense. I mean, obviously, the original Resident Evil was not bound really to reality with that camera angle because you can't move the characters, can't move and shoot properly. It's the mechanics of a game.
Yeah, but when we're talking 360, we're talking years later. You know, this camera, the camera stuff should work. I should hit the right stick and should be able to
pan around and
be
look.
able to look around and take in everything. But I can't. I've got to hit left bumper and get the camera to reset behind me, just so I can see where I'm going. So it's like if I look this way. Now I'm running towards the camera, and then the camera's like, float behind you.
Slowly
it's
pan around.
easier.
Now that can again be a problem when you get into combat, when you're trying to move somewhere, or when you're trying to backtrack somewhere, and the camera's like, "Which way are you going? I don't know."
Yeah, and you're like, "You should know. You're the camera."
Okay, well, let me say that the voice acting in this game, I think, is really good. I think the script could have used a little bit of work, but the voice acting, I thought, really ground the characters. And obviously said Boulder, he's like I said, he's a lesser god, but at the same time he also has less cybernetic implants, he's less like the other gods, and so that makes him too human.
Oh god. Yeah, nice. So how you walked me into that one.
Yeah.
I'm getting a big Mass Effect feel from this though.
Oh, absolutely. This for me it's Devil May Cry / Mass Effect.
Yeah, I didn't like Devil May Cry.
I enjoyed the earlier Devil May Cry games, like 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped after that. But I mean, interesting art design, interesting gunplay.
Good story lines as well. Yeah, with the whole Mass Effect thing I'm getting is, the way he's looking, the characters he's interacting with. Like you said, the universe that he's in. I mean, these robot things are kind of like...
Well,
I've got skill points,
there is a limited amount of enemy design. You will find yourself fighting the same enemies over and over again across the very same 4 levels.
Yeah.
Now, the skill trees and the branching skill trees in this game is what I thought really, really worked. It's simplistic as you look at it. Obviously, you start at the top, you move all the way down to the bottom, your core path.
Yeah.
But you can sort of work your way down the 3 different branches. You're not going to be able to explore all of them, and each one of them, as you can see, there's a little number up to the right of it, and that's how much you power up each one of those skills. So you can literally have a commando or a defender that has varying degrees of skill, depending on who your teammates consist of. And considering it's been only 2 players, it's a lot of the skill trees may be redundant, but it does add some diversity to the character that you're playing as.
Yeah, I wanted to increase the Reign of Iron, but I can't seem to go down there yet, so I need to increase this one to 10 before I unlock
possibly
Reign of Iron.
I can't quite remember how
because red means always bad.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Well, I mean, that one's red, so now I'm really confused.
Can you go up to the number above it? Or?
No, I've just put my 3 points on there.
Oh, okay.
So increases damage and radius of grenades. Have I got grenades?
Maybe.
Back the game. Right, okay, people are just going to start smashing into pieces. Why would you lock on that guy? I wanted to... Right, just stand still and just do... Okay, right. Fire. Shoot. I'm spinning round, Gary.
Yeah, that's essentially it. And so yeah, I would still. I mean, Microsoft I think still owns the rights to this, as it was their second party or first party game.
Yeah.
And so I kind of still hold out hope for a continuation of this because I gotta say it, for being a fan of Vikings, Thor, Odin, the Greek the Norse. I love Greek mythology too. I love Norse mythology even more. And so seeing it put in the cybernetic, futuristic universe, I loved it. and that was one of the reasons why I kept coming back to it, because I like that setting, and I'd like to see more like that.
I think I'm slowly. Am I slowly regenning? No, I'm not.
No.
That should be always something in an RPG game. Is
Well,
know.
there are certain skills and weapons and power ups that do sort of power up over time.
Yeah. Well, I am only level 2 at the moment. So
Yeah.
pick up some health orbs. I always love that how they just place those things around in the levels as well.
Yeah.
Just like we're just gonna put
breakable
this health
stuff.
here, just in case. Yeah, the whole Norse thing. I mean, when you try to mix futuristic and medieval kind of fantasy elements together, it's very difficult to get that bridge.
The balance.
The balance, because you're seeing like you said, you've got all these enemies, the robots,
Look like the Geth.
Yeah, the robots have been created just like the Geth, and Loki's just like, oh yeah, I've got all this science now. It's like, how? But then you look at the films like with Thor, and he says in there, oh well, our science is what you would consider magic.
Yeah.
So in a way, it kind of nowadays it makes sense where it's been explained to us in other media forms.
Yeah.
I suppose at the time I would have probably looked at it and been like, I'll go back and play Mass Effect.
Yes, yeah. So I in closing, I can't recommend the game because of its many problems. But if you're even in the slightest bit curious about this game's story, I would check it out. The gameplay, obviously, as we said, with the camera work, it can be finicky.
Yeah.
But if you just want to play it through for sort of 10 hours, just breeze through the story, watch the cutscenes, enjoy the ambient music or some of the great orchestral pieces of music. I love the music in this game. The voice acting does a really good job. The gameplay, of course, is repetitive. The loot grind, annoying. But if you could get a second player and play through the game, I think you could at least, on a very low budget, enjoy the game through. I was curious because when Silicon Knights lost the rights or lost the lawsuit to Epic demanded that all unsold versions of the game were destroyed so that they could not be sold again, and so there was a recall of those games. And so I was like, really? Well, I guess that's going to make the game pretty rare.
Yes.
No. You can still buy the game for £3 off of eBay or off Amazon. It's a very low budget game right now. I don't know if the game ever managed to get over to Steam or Good Old Games or anywhere else other than the console.
Yeah.
Obviously, with it being a 360 exclusive, it might have come to PC. But obviously, I think all the money that this game sells now is... just
going to Epic.
It's it's going either to Epic or to Microsoft, who, I don't know, sort of had a good partnership with Epic throughout the Gears of War period before Coalition and everything else.
Yeah.
So it's a game that I remember from. I'm kind of nostalgic about this game because I played it through with at least 4 of the classes, co-op, beginning to end, and ground out to try and get all the loot. And I have to say, I put in excess of about 80 hours into this game when it came out, trying to get the final best complete suit. Why did I do that? Because I was promised that there would be a continuation, that there would be a second game.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, maybe if I get my character with the best armor, the best equipment, all ready so that I can import my save into the second one,
Mass Effect
I'd be sorted.
Yeah.
What a waste of fucking time that was. So, knowing that now, I would have just played through the story, gone, that was great. Some cute moments with the Valkyries and with Odin and with these other gods and Loki. And I was like, great, I got my Norse mythology fixed that I'm not getting anywhere else. It's way before Marvel came along and went, we're gonna show you Asgard and everything else.
And all the magic behind
it. The magic behind it. So
for me, if this game, I mean, like that corridor section I just did, which was just straight.
Every level's linear.
Yeah, and I didn't have to mess with the camera. That worked. Coming into a big room, you've got enemies all around. I mean, those rocket launcher enemies are fucking pains in the asses, especially when you're getting mobbed by everything else. So you've literally got to get out of combat to go and fight them.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get fucking blasted and killed. An arcade game, it might work as an arcade game. As an actual full-on game, it's got some problems and they should have been rectified before it was released.
Definitely. But obviously, as I said, with the trouble of the 10-year development hell of this game, it's it's no surprise that the final product is not the best, and that's kind of been said for every game that's gone through development hell, has never really shined when it's come out on the other side.
Yeah.
So with these enemies, I think you can literally shoot off the left arm, the right arm, try and take away his hammer arm, and then you get this moment where you'll sort of jump up on top of the robot's shoulders, and then you have to sort of balance the analog sticks to stop yourself from falling off before you make the death kill.
That's a lot.
But no, it looks like you died instead, and so of course we get treated to the Valkyrie taking you off.
Valkyrie again.
One more time.
I'm just going to fly you up and then put you... Why didn't you just fucking give me energy and put me right back there, and I've got to run all the way up the fucking stairs again, you stupid cow.
Well, that's going to be it from us here on Off the Shelf Reviews this Gaming Friday. Of course, we'll be back next Friday with another video game. Of course, film reviews on Thursdays. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Patreon. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time.
I'm on my own. They're all dead. They're all dead, Dave. They're all dead.